seems like a nice guy, and he just exudes macho.
Welcome to the Nation of Jake on The Voice, KWAM, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
Yes, sir.
Yes, have some.
All right, welcome to it, the Nation of Jake on The Voice, FM 107.9, AM 990, online, KWAMTheVoice.com. Streaming live on YouTube, the YouTube channel, Nation of Jake. That's one word, Nation of Jake. Run that all together and subscribe to the Nation of Jake on YouTube. You can also follow me on Facebook, as well as Instagram and Twitter, at Nation of Jake on this Monday, September 9th, year of our Lord 2019, sunny, 93 degrees, high of 97. Look, it's going to be almost 100 degrees for the rest of the week. It's going to be sunny and about 100 out there, so it's going to be hot. Stay cool, beat the heat. No heat advisories or excessive heat warnings or anything like that, but there's no rain in sight, at least not until next week. All right, but this week is this week. We'll focus on this week this week. We've got a Democrat presidential debate coming up this week. That'll happen on Thursday. So in advance of that, we'll be following a lot of the national polls that are out. Coming up this week in the debate, it'll be the first time you've got the top three in the polls. You'll have Joe Biden and Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders all on stage together. And the national polls out today show that Joe Biden is still the 2020 Democrat frontrunner by double digits. All right, nothing is slowing Joe down. Joe Biden is a gaffe machine. People watched his eyeball fill with blood on national television during a climate debate. He's had all kinds of gaffes. He has said all kinds of goofy stuff. He's on video stuttering and stammering. Stephen Colbert asked if he was going nuts. But people still like Joe Biden, at least in the national poll. That said, it's a national poll, which when you think about it, it means very little in this country. We don't have national elections. More on that in a bit and what we can actually look for as a precursor to frontrunner status and how this thing might shake out. It's still very early in the election season. We've also got the latest on vaping and how the government is trying to stop the vapists from all the vape that's going on. They're saying that these illnesses brought on by vaping number 450, 500 of them. They've had like 5 fatalities related to vaping. And now I think the government is just trying to get ahead of this before it gets real bad. A lot of people were told that vaping was a safe alternative to smoking. Usually you're told that by people who sell this stuff. And to be honest with you, people who run vape shops, not too long ago, they were driving ice cream trucks. People who run your local vape shop, they're not experts in the medical side of vaping and what kind of effects it can have. They are there to sell you more vapor pens that hopefully don't explode and more vape juice or Juul pods, as they call them. So we'll talk about the vaping deal and how one school in northern Alabama is taking the law into their own hands. How they will try to prevent vaping in the boys' room. It's like an updated hit. Vaping in the gender-neutral bathroom. That's how you do it in 2019. We've got another infectious disease making a comeback. A couple weeks ago, we talked about measles and how measles is very close to being back. It was eradicated. It was declared extinct. But it's making a comeback. Well, there's another one that's a lot scarier than measles that could be coming back to the US of A. We'll get into that as well as the news crews and a bunch of other stuff here on the program today. So not only is it hot out, so you got the outdoors activities planned, like, soccer practices and whatnot. You got to be careful. Get the kids plenty of water. There's also, I'm told, a code orange air quality alert. The code orange says that the air outside could be unhealthy for sensitive groups. Unhealthy for sensitive groups sounds like a disclaimer you might hear at the beginning of a Dave Chappelle comedy special. For sensitive groups, if you're sensitive, you may want to proceed with caution if you go outside. It says here that the air quality index for ozone It's based on parts per billion. 101 to 150 parts per billion. Or I should say 76 to 95 parts per billion of ozone in the atmosphere today. Active children and adults and people with respiratory disease such as asthma should limit prolonged outdoor exertion. All right, so if you got 100-degree temperatures and you got 76 to 95 parts per billion of ozone in the air, you've got a code orange. So what do you do during a code orange? Well, I don't know. I'm not going to do anything differently. Really, how often do you consider the air quality index when you go out about your day? What are the things that affect your everyday? You got things to do. You get up, you get your kids ready for school, you yourself, you get to work, you work all day, you get home, you do whatever you have to do when you get home, you get your kids from school, you pick them up from daycare, whatever it is, you take them to soccer practice. It's not often that those things get disturbed by the weather. Sure, excessive heat warnings will do it. They'll cancel practices. Rain obviously will do it. But other than that, other than the really hot days, which today is not one of them, or really rainy days, how often does the weather or atmospheric conditions affect your daily routine? Usually, I might put on some boots if it's raining. I might grab an umbrella. But that's about it. I have never, ever changed my plans based on what color the air quality alert is. And for reference, just so you know, a code green is good. A code green, you don't even hear code green. You know why? Because there's no alert. That's just how the air is most days. 0 to 50 parts per billion of ozone in the environment. No health impacts are expected when air quality is in this range. So there's really no such thing as a code green. It's more of like no code. Then it goes to yellow, which is moderate. Usually sensitive people should consider limiting prolonged outdoor exertion. So if you're unusually sensitive, you're probably not even going outside all that much. Just anything will bother you. And then it goes code orange where we are now, the sensitive groups. But then you get into code red. This is unhealthy. Active children and adults and people with respiratory disease such as asthma should avoid prolonged outdoor exertion. Everyone else, especially children, should limit prolonged outdoor exertion. And then very unhealthy. This is a code. Is this maroon? No, there's purple, then there's maroon. Oh my God. This goes all the way to maroon. Just means it's unhealthy for everybody. Don't go outside at all. But we're at orange. We're just really just too deep. All right, so what are we doing around here to make sure people stay safe? Well, code orange has been issued for the Mid-South. That's right. The Memphis metropolitan area is under a code orange alert. That means certain people may have issues with the air quality when outside. The Shelby County Health Department warns active children and adults, as well as people with respiratory disease, blah, blah, blah. Limit your time outdoors, da-da-da. Ozone levels will be high. That ozone that I was told when I was a kid, there was an ozone layer, I guess, to protect us from ozone. Was that it? And there was a hole in it. And that's where all this ozone gets in. And it can cause nose, eye, throat, and lung irritation. Now, I've been suffering from this stuff because I got seasonal allergies. Not because of the ozone. I don't think. So what are some tips? How do you beat the orange alert? How do you beat the air pollution? Let's see. It says here, refuel cars and lawnmowers after 7 p.m. tonight. Carpool or mass transit. Combine errands rather than making separate trips. Drive less, especially during peak hours. So this all seems to be related to travel. Seems those are all the tips that they want you to, I guess, cut down on all the emissions. And also, due to the code orange, our good buddies at MATA have reduced all fares to 25 cents for today only. And that's funny. We were talking about MATA all last week. Mayor Lee Harris of Shelby County wants to tax your third, fourth, fifth. If you got more than 2 vehicles, he wants some extra tax money out of you so he can fund MATA. And MATA only brings in $6 million in fares against a budget that they want of $80 million a year. They're $30 million underfunded, they say. They bring in about $50 million from various sources, whether it be the city of Memphis, state of Tennessee, from federal government, and then $6 million in fares. So they are reducing the fares for today only to 25 cents. Now, let's just get through this practically. I didn't know there was a code orange alert until 8:20 a.m. when Wolfman, who was sitting on a giant rock at the playground this morning, told me. He says, hey, it's a code orange. MATA's only 25 cents today. I was like, okay, what's the correlation here? Oh, I guess to cut down on emissions, they want you to ride MATA, so it's an incentive to take public transportation. So $1.75 usually gets you a ride on MATA. Now it's $1.50 off. That's pretty decent savings. It's fantastic if you got 2.5 hours for a commute. Seriously, so you wake up, you find out it's a code orange. You say, oh, I need to do all these things. I need to take mass transit today. So what do? You say, oh, it's only a quarter. Oh, wow. Fantastic. I'm going to save some money today by taking mass transit, and I'm going to do a great job of protecting the environment and cutting down on emissions. So what do? You get out your handy MATA map that has a list of all the fares and all the stops, and you call your boss and say, hey, boss man, I don't know if you've heard, but it's a code orange today, and they're telling me I should take the mass transit, so I know I'm supposed to be there at 8:30, but let's see, they'll pick me up. I'll be there at 11, because that's about what it's going to take. It'll take me 2.5 hours to get anywhere on MATA that anybody wants to go, and I don't care if it's 25 cents. See, that's really it. Like, you could make it 25 cents, or you can make it free, and it's still not worth it, because it takes 2.5 hours to get anywhere. That's just it. You would have to pay me to ride it. You would, because I'd have to miss work to ride it. But really, and I've been told this, that today is 25 cents, so people who say are homeless, people have nowhere to go, it's a little hot, air quality's bad, I'll just ride MATA all day for 25 cents. Because that's what some people do. They use it as like a mobile cooling center, or just a mobile office, or a mobile shelter. So that's one of the caveats of making it 25 cents. Hey, they want to increase ridership. But what if all those riders are just hanging out and sleeping all day, riding a bus and never getting off? They're not going to kick anybody off a MATA bus. You've been on the bus too long. They're not going to, because it's not like you're taking up anybody else's spot, because there's only a few people on it. But when you make it 25 cents, that's what everybody's going to do. It's like you can get kicked out of a mall, and after a while, they might kick you out of a public library, but they ain't going to kick you off a MATA bus. So today, MATA fares, just 25 cents. You know, that might be a good solution for somebody who's looking for an office space. Yeah, I mean, you might be a little bit tight on the Wi-Fi. Might need to bring your own Wi-Fi hotspot, set up, get yourself a cup of coffee, bring a pillow, something comfortable, and just ride MATA buses all day long. If you're your mobile office, it's not a bad idea. That said, code orange air quality today in the Mid-South. So limit your time outdoors if you're a sensitive group. That is your public service announcement for today in the Nation of Jake. Onward to other things. We got the latest on vaping. The federal government wants a solution to vaping. People are getting sick. People are dying. This has gone largely unregulated. And right now we're in a situation where it could get bad and worse because people are getting sick and they're not exactly sure why. Who knows what's in this stuff? All right, we'll talk about that in a little bit. But the new national poll is out. Biden is still on top. But let's talk about why national polls are worthless, especially at this stage of the game. We'll do it next right here in the Nation of Jake.
The Voice, KWAM, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
When's the last time you looked at the windows in your house? Not through the windows, but at the windows. Really looked at them. There's dirt, streaks, buildup, smudges, fingerprints, paw prints, spider webs, dead bugs. There's little white speckles. I have no idea what they are, and who knows what else. Now, cleaning all the windows in your house makes a big difference, but it's also a big job. That's why you need Just Windows Home Services. Just Windows has been taking taken the pain out of window cleaning since 1992. Just Windows cleans all types of windows, storm windows, screens, skylights, interior, exterior, upstairs and down. Now, I know I told you the company is called Just Windows Home Services, but they do a lot more. Roof and gutter cleaning, pressure washing, mirrors, blinds, ceiling fans, light fixtures, chandeliers. Look, if you've got hard to reach areas of the house, then you need Just Windows Home Services. Call for a free estimate, 751-3934. That's 751-3934, or get them online at justwindowsmemphis.com. That's justwindowsmemphis.com.
Stop everything you're doing right now and ask yourself, are you currently receiving steady paychecks? What about when you're retired? Will you receive a monthly check to cover your expenses and also have some fun? Dan Groban and Phil Menard at Servant Advisors Group call this mailbox money. It's the monthly check you'll receive throughout retirement. They want to help remove stress from your retirement. They don't want you to worry about if the money will show up or how much money you'll receive. The only thing they want you to think about is how to spend it when it arrives. Find out how to get enough money in your mailbox every month when you're retired. Call Servant Advisors Group at 855-260-1000 for a complimentary retirement analysis with strategies that could help your nest egg provide you monthly income you'll need in retirement. Call right now, 855-260-1000. Servant Wealth Management is a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Servant Advisors Group, LLC. Insurance licensed in Tennessee, Mississippi, and in Arkansas.
Hey, are you ready for your new baby?
Yeah.
Are you familiar with the ABCs of infant safe sleep?
No, what's that?
Babies should sleep alone, on their back, and in their own crib.
Wow, I didn't know that. Thanks.
For more information regarding infant safe sleep, contact the Shelby County Health Department at 901-222-9000 or log on to shelbytnhealth.com. Funding for this was provided by Tennessee Department of Health.
Marsh Electric in Memphis reminds us that training and discipline instill the values that create leadership abilities. Those same values stay with our military veterans returning to the civilian workforce. So if you're a business owner, remember to hire smart and bet on a vet. This from Jeffrey Marsh at Marsh Electric in Memphis, serving the community with pride and integrity. For outlets, switches, fixtures, or panel upgrades, call 901-846-9773. Proud to salute the fighting forces of our country.
Don't miss Maine and Mulberry Live every Thursday morning at 8 right here on KWAM The Voice. Maine and Mulberry Live explores the crossroads of modernization and small-town tradition, exemplified in Collierville, Tennessee. Host Keith Essery sits down with local entrepreneurs, thriving businesses, city officials, and thought leaders right here every Thursday at 8 a.m. Tune in and learn how a town comes of age with economic growth. Maine and Mulberry Live is brought to you by John Green & Company Realtors, building neighbors for 40 years.
Hello, I'm Bishop Terry Steib, Bishop of Memphis in Tennessee, and I invite you to join us each week for the Catholic Cafe.
And I'm your host, Deacon Jeff, here to tell you about the wonderful sponsors that make the Catholic Cafe possible. Dr. Rick Alsobrook of Alsobrook Vision Center on Wolf River Boulevard is proud to sponsor the Catholic Cafe. Listen to a full hour of the Catholic Cafe, Sundays starting at 10 a.m. right here at KWAM 990, the voice of Memphis.
I'm little teapot, short and stout.
Here is my handle and here is my spout.
No, Dad, like this. When I get all steamed up, then I shout, tip me over and pour me out.
This is WWE superstar Roman Reigns. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Visit fatherhood.gov, brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Wake up, Memphis, wake up. Tune in every Saturday at 2 p.m. to Wake Up Memphis from Beyond the Badge. To be informed of hard-hitting issues like public safety, police community relations, and how your tax dollars are being spent. Join in on the conversation to share the facts. Sponsored by the men and women of the Memphis Police Association that protect this city every day. Remember, every Saturday, 2 p.m., Wake Up Memphis from Beyond the Bad, here at KWAM.
Now on FM 107.9 and AM 990.
All right, welcome back to it.
Yes, have some.
The Nation of Jake on The Voice, FM 107.9, AM 990, online, KWAMTheVoice.com. Streaming live on YouTube. Just go to the YouTube channel. It is Nation of Jake there. One word, Nation of Jake on YouTube. Also, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Nation of Jake. So we've got a debate coming up this week on Thursday. It'll just be 10 of the 20 candidates in Houston, Texas on September 12th. That would be this Thursday, taking part in a debate. And this is a big deal only because you've got all the front runners on stage together. Before, they had night 1 and night 2, so you never got to see Biden up against Elizabeth Warren. I think you saw Joe Biden up there with Bernie, but you're going to have all three of those, Biden, Bernie, and Elizabeth Warren on stage, along with people like Kamala Harris and Cory Booker, and I believe Beto O'Rourke. They'll all be on stage together. 10 of them on stage in a debate. So it's starting to kind of get real here. Now, as far as the election season goes, it's way too early for a lot of reasons. I mean, it's only just now September. You don't have the first caucuses and primaries until February. So you still got a ways to go. A lot can happen. So much can happen. I mean, even for somebody like Kamala Harris, who is taking a nosedive in the polls and is kind of getting lost. Even for somebody like Cory Booker, who really doesn't have a shot, you never know what can happen. Like atop the polls, you've got Joe Biden. National polls, but it could work against him. You know, being the top in the polls means there's a target on your back. So you might want to be somebody like Elizabeth Warren, who is creeping up, but nobody's gunning for you. They're gunning past you and gunning for Joe. So when Joe finally does commit the fatal gaffe, then you'll be right there and take over as a new frontrunner. And that's, I guess, what Elizabeth Warren is hoping. But here's the problem with the national polls. You know, we always get these national polls every few weeks, and they've all shown that Vice President Joe Biden, the former vice president, is the frontrunner, holding a comfortable lead over the rest of the Democrat field. But a separate survey of early voting states shows a closer contest between Biden and his two top progressive challengers, being Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders, and that's just it. That tells you what you need to know. We do not have a national election in this country. We don't. So national polls are worthless. Now we have what feels like a national election. We view it as a national election, but it's really 51 simultaneous state elections. Think about it. The popular vote went to Hillary Clinton. All right, the national popular vote. But that's not how we do it. You got to get the votes in the right places. So why would you ever look at a national poll in order to take the temperature on what's going on? It matters what a national poll says if you're a donor or something. It's largely propaganda is what it is. A national poll, you can kind of get a good idea of who belongs there versus who doesn't. Like Biden definitely belongs in the race, whereas Beto does not, and Julian Castro does not. You know, people polling at 0 and 1. It tells you a lot more about the people polling at the bottom than it does polling at the top. Because a national poll tells you very little about, okay, where are these votes coming from? Where are the votes coming from? Are they coming from California? Because you know that any one of these Democrats is going to win California. Are they coming from Ohio? Ohio is a swing state, a battleground state. Are they coming from the Rust Belt, where Donald Trump overperformed and Hillary Clinton didn't bother to visit? Where are the votes coming from? It matters. So when you look at national polls, they're dubious. That said, you know, with their purpose being for fundraising and the propaganda, really just keeping the news cycle going, Biden continues to lead the race with 27% among Democrats and Democrat-leaning independents, according to an ABC News Washington Post poll released on Sunday. Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders comes in second at 19%, down slightly from 23% in July, while Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren gained 6 points from July to come in third at 17%. California Senator Kamala Harris saw her support drop to 7% after polling at 11% in July, and South Bend, Indiana Mayor Pete Buttigieg rounds out the top 5 at 4%. Okay, so Biden's still leading the national polls. Now, this demonstrates Biden's dominance over the rest of the Democratic pack nationwide, though a CBS and YouGov survey among likely Democratic voters in early voting states finds Biden in a tight matchup against Warren and Sanders, who have galvanized the party's progressive base. Okay, so what you have here is Biden neck and neck with either Warren or Sanders in Iowa, and New Hampshire and Nevada. Those are the only early voting states which he holds a sizable lead. Is South Carolina. He's got 43% over Sanders, 18 and 14 by Warren, which is a reflection of his strong support among African Americans. Among 18 states that will hold primaries or caucuses in early 2020, including those on Super Tuesday, Warren stands at 26%, about even with Biden, and 25%, with Sanders in third place at 19. Harris trails behind with 8%, with Buttigieg at 6%. So, you've got the big three, Biden, Warren, and Sanders. It tightens up when you go state by state. But then you have to drill down and talk about, okay, what does state by state mean? Do you think that a Democrat is going to win Iowa? Is that going to matter in the long run? I mean, where those electoral votes are going to go. It'll matter as to who is the nominee, but for the general election. So where are the votes coming from? And honestly, all you really have to do is go state by state and kind of apply what you know about each candidate. And it's not really easy to kind of decipher all this, but you can just kind of pick out the big things like last week's climate debate, the CNN climate debate. You can go with what all those people said, all the Democrat candidates said at the climate debate, and then apply it to, all right, what does that mean in practical terms, state by state? And just from memory, I remember hearing Joe Biden, saying that he wants to get rid of coal. He wants to get rid of, he stuttered the whole time. If you remember, Joe Biden was up there on CNN in this town hall, this climate town hall, which lasted 7 hours. He was only up there for like 45 minutes. But he stumbled and stammered through the entire thing.
Look what's happened in the Midwest. We have a number of significant bases that relate military bases that relate to our national security that, in fact, were rendered almost useless, including, I can't go into the great detail to say it, but my point is it significantly reduced our national security. Last thing I'll say.
All right, thank you, Joe Biden, for that. I have no idea what he's talking about. That said, he was talking about he wants to get rid of coal. No new coal plants. He wants to shut down the ones that are there. Well, how's that going to work out for him in those states that depend on coal? Pennsylvania and Ohio. Pennsylvania, Ohio. The Rust Belt. Those states, they're Trump overperformed, right? Well, he's on record as saying he wants to shut down the coal industry. He's been saying that for years and years and years. So don't be surprised if a national poll has Joe Biden up top or Joe Biden leading over Warren or Sanders. But then in a general election, how does that match up? And you know that Donald Trump's people right now are making videos of all this stuff. Not just Joe Biden, but Elizabeth Warren. Elizabeth Warren wants to ban fracking. She's against nuclear energy. In coming out with a full-on fracking ban, which she tweeted, Elizabeth Warren said her first day in office, she will sign an executive order to ban fracking everywhere. It's hydrofracturing. It's a way of getting natural gas. It's a way of it's how we have become less dependent on foreign oil. It provides a lot of jobs. That's not going to go over well in Pennsylvania and Ohio. It's going to cost 15 million jobs in this country. So they want to put people out of work, and then they want to put those people to work for the government in green energy and green jobs, which those industries can't support 15 million people working for them, especially the people with the skill sets of those who work in coal or in fracking. So how's that going to work out in a general election with Elizabeth Warren? Beto O'Rourke, he's saying, hey, we need to be off fossil fuels by 2035. Beto O'Rourke comes from Texas. From what I understand, Texas is pretty big in the oil industry. From what I understand. Texas oil man, if you were to write a movie about some kind of oil tycoon, where's he coming from? Texas, Oklahoma, take your pick. So I don't know if that's going to go over well. None of these ideas are going to go over well. Kamala Harris from the great state of California. She's talking about new diet guidelines for people, taking away red meat, not even incentivizing, punishing people, taxing people to eat too much red meat. She comes from California, where I think they're the leading producer of cattle. That's probably not going to go over well. And I don't think that Donald Trump can win California. But I'm just saying that, this is why it's too early. And this is why these national polls don't mean anything. Because this battle has not even begun. They're just getting out there with all these platitudes. Oh, yeah, the world's going to end in 12 years, so we're going to do a 7-hour scare the pants off of you and propose we take everything away from you. How's that going to play when people are actually paying attention? So, yeah, national polls, they favor Joe Biden. He's got the name recognition. He's got the association with a very popular president, President Obama. So, for now, it's working in his favor. Later, I'm not so sure. And I'm not so sure any of this nonsense about taking away guns and taking away cars and taxing red meat and banning straws and banning things like fracking and doing away with nuclear energy. None of that stuff is going to fly. They're just saying that because they want to see who can be the most progressive, who can be the most left today. Because honestly, their only message, none of that stuff matters. Their only message is, we hate Donald Trump and you should too. So that's the latest on these. And we'll see what happens at this debate on Thursday. We'll have more debate previews and stuff. It's way too early to even get into that this week. But we got plenty of stuff. One thing, I want to get into this a little bit later. Kamala Harris is amazingly bad at politics and running for office. She looked like a major player in this whole deal when she was grandstanding in front of the Senate, but she is so bad at it. And I got the video and her response to a controversial video from one of her rallies to prove it. But I do want to get into this vaping stuff. All right? I'm not against people vaping. I want people to be free. But you got to know what you're putting in your body. And this is one of the few times where I want to get on board with the federal government on something. They want to act. People are getting sick, and some people are dying as a result of the old vaping. We'll talk about the vapists next, right here in the Nation of Jake.
The Voice, KWAM, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
CBS News Update. Quite a job for rescue teams attempting to free 4 crew members trapped inside a huge cargo ship that's capsized off Georgia's St. Simon's Island. CBS's Meg Oliver.
23 crew members and 1 pilot were on board the ship when it capsized in St. Simon's Sound.
There are injuries reported within the ship's hull. Radioactive at this point.
Coast Guard video shows one person being pulled to safety in the middle of the night.
Survivor are cleared the vessel.
Rescuers evacuated 20 of the 24 crew members before a fire made the mission too dangerous.
That huge car carrier ship is now on its side. Rescuers attempting to reach the trapped men through holes that are being drilled in the hull. As for what caused the capsizing,
Hurricane Dorian brushed past the Georgia coast last week, but officials say it's unclear whether weather conditions caused this ship to list so heavily. Investigators are also looking into whether the ship's stability was compromised when it left port.
CBS News Update. I'm Jim Chenevey.
You and your friends and associates are invited to attend the Mississippi Senior Expo and Health Fair, Thursday, September 19th from 9 a.m. until 2 p.m. at the Brown Missionary Baptist Church, located at 7200 Swinia Road in South Haven, Mississippi. There will be health exams, flu shots, entertainment, and this year, there'll be food trucks on site to allow you to enjoy lunch while you're there, and a demonstration on healthy living by the Silver Sneakers. The Mississippi Senior Expo and Health Fair is promoted by the DeSoto Times and the Best Times. Mark your calendar for September 19th. You'll be glad you did.
This is Clark Howard. Amazon did Prime Day last month and does it each year to try to attract new people to be Prime members, because Amazon lives by that $119 a year that you pay to be a Prime member. But here's the thing. Is it really worth being a Prime member? Many times paying that $119 a year is money going down the drain, because maybe you don't buy enough from Amazon, or maybe you're paying more for things on Amazon than you would buying other places. So I have a new checklist for you at Clark.com that you can go through the questions, and it's set up for you to come up with a score on whether or not you should dump or keep your Amazon Prime membership. I think you'd be surprised how many of us are paying for Amazon Prime that would actually benefit from saving that $119. Take the quiz.
Did you know that the IRS is getting more aggressive these days? They're using private agencies to track you down and even started taking away passports. Don't wait. If you owe more than $10,000, take advantage of the Fresh Start Initiative, a program in place that can help you now. You can save thousands and possibly have your taxes forgiven. Join the thousands of taxpayers who've made the call to get protection from IRS collections. Call the experts at Oxford Tax Partners now about the Fresh Start program. If you qualify, it'll stop the IRS collection agencies from coming after you. Let the IRS negotiation experts at Oxford Tax Partners get you protected once and for all. Call the hotline now at 800-320-9303. That's 800-320-9303. There's help for those of you who owe $10,000 or more, but it's important that you take action before these programs change. Call the tax experts at Oxford Tax Partners for a free consultation now at 800-320-9303. 800-320-9303. That's 800-320-9303.
All right, welcome back.
Yes, have some.
The Nation of Jake on The Voice, FM 107.9, AM 990. Online, KWAMTheVoice.com. Listen live link is in the top right corner. And the Nation of Jake podcast will be up and ready for stream or download just a little bit later, shortly after the program concludes, around 3 o'clock or so. All right, so vaping. You know, I'm not a big fan of vaping. I think you look goofy when you do it. I don't know what the medical effects are of, say, inhaling water vapor. Maybe water vapor as such. I can't imagine it being too bad for you, but it's all the stuff that they add in there. All right, so, and look, we don't know a lot about it. You know, I don't know what half the time what people are vaping, what they're blowing out. And I don't think it has an ill effect on the atmosphere or anything. I'm not going to say, oh no, the ozone layer. Oh no, we've got a code orange because of all the vape. But look, you've been told it's a safer alternative to smoking, and that seems like it would be. I mean, with smoke, you're inhaling tar and nicotine, all kinds of carcinogens. You've been told that smoking is bad for you all your life. Even if you're old and you weren't told how bad it was for you, you should have figured that out. If the first time you do something, you cough and it burns your throat, it's probably not good for you. And I get it. You grew up, you watched James Dean smoke, all the cool people smoked, the Ghostbusters smoked. I get it. Marlboro Man, Joe Camel, all the above. I get it. But with this vaping, you know, you've been told that it's a safe alternative to smoking, but you've been told that by people who are selling you the vape. The guy over at the vape shop who was selling you some sort of machine that heats up water, I guess, to boil? Again, I'm kind of hazy on exactly how this all works. I mean, there has to be water involved, and there has to be heat involved. I've read about these e-cigarettes, vape pens, exploding and blowing out people's teeth and blowing off their faces, massive hemorrhages of the facial area. So, listen, it's not for me. It's not for me. Now, there are people high up in the government. Some of them are just really concerned. Some of them have medical degrees. One of them, Dr. Scott Gottlieb, he's a former FDA commissioner. He told CNBC on Monday the government needs to regulate cannabis products after reports of 450 possible cases and 5 deaths from a mystery lung disease linked to vaping. Most of the patients reported vaping both nicotine and THC, the marijuana compound that creates a high, though some reported only using nicotine. See, I guess some people, they vape, but they don't vape nicotine. They can vape THC. You can vape nicotine. Some people like vape flavor stuff. Like I went to L.A. back in 2002, I believe it was, and there are all these hookah bars. And it's like, okay, what do? You go in there and get high? And they're like, no, it's not legal. It was 2002. I'm like, so what is it? It's like flavored tobacco. I'm like, why would anybody do that? Like, I'm going to go into this place and pay to suck on some hookah? No, I'm not. You guys have fun. I'm going to go do something else with my time and my money. So vaping, I guess, is kind of the same thing. Some people sit there and vape stuff that's just flavorful. I guess people have this oral fixation. If they're trying to quit smoking, they need to replace it with something or other. Hey, Greg, you vape, right? Do you vape nicotine? So Greg vapes nicotine because he's addicted to cigarettes. This guy rolls his own sometimes. I mean, this guy's really into smoking. Actually, he's trying to stop. So he's vaping nicotine. Is there a vape that's not nicotine-based? It's just vape. Like just flavor, like strawberry vape. That's like the wine cooler of vaping. It's like the White Claw of Juul pods, right? So I don't know. I see people, sometimes they vape nicotine. They vape because they want to quit smoking. You're a smoking cessation vapor.
Yes, correct.
All right, but you still put nicotine in your vape.
Exactly, yeah.
Just less nicotine?
I believe it's a little bit less than an actual cigarette, but
there's no tar.
There's no tar or any of that other stuff in it.
So are you worried that you're going to get one of these lung diseases?
No.
It's a mystery.
I'm not as worried about it because I don't do the fill my own like vape stuff where you buy all the chemicals and mix it together.
So you
and
just
put
buy
it in a
it
tank.
from the guy at the vape place.
I buy the over-the-counter stuff that's made by one of the tobacco companies.
So it's made by a tobacco company.
Yep.
Okay, so how are the other? Since I don't know anything about this, and I want to get an expert. You're not that, but you're an experienced vapist. So you can go like mix your own, like you would say mix up your own Big Gulp at a 7-Eleven. Like you can
totally.
suicide it.
Yeah, you can
do whatever.
You can buy a bunch of different liquids and stuff and mix them all together, and you put them in your own tank, and that heats it up and vape away.
Because you figure it's safe because it's water vapor.
Yeah.
All right, but they're saying now that vitamin E is the problem.
Yes.
All right, so vitamin E, which I think people take vitamin E pills for like their skin, right? It's like an oil, an emulsifying agent, but it's dangerous when it's inhaled. So I guess you don't really think about like vitamin E being dangerous to inhale.
And there's no regulation on any of this stuff.
Well,
I mean,
that's what I'm saying.
Terrible.
So the guy who a couple years ago was driving an ice cream truck, he's now opened a vape shop because you can.
Yep.
And all you got to do is have a business license, and you don't have to have any FDA clearance or any kind of expertise. You can just sell the stuff. Say, hey, come on, fill your own vape, mix up whatever you want. And so now people are discovering that might not be the best idea.
Yeah, I've been keeping a close eye on it just to make sure, like, and I know it's still not 100% safe. Anytime you're inhaling something that's not just oxygen is probably not the best thing for you, but I definitely think still that the vaping is better than cigarettes.
Okay, yeah, I mean, and that's conventional wisdom here. Is like, cigarettes are bad. Eventually it's going to cause some sort of problem, whether it's cancer, emphysema, heart disease, low sperm count, all those things that you obviously love because you're going to get them. So you vape because it's less bad for you, but you acknowledge that it probably isn't the best thing in the world for you.
Oh, definitely.
Because you just need to be inhaling nitrogen and oxygen and whatever's in the atmosphere on this lovely code orange of a day. So do you know how they are trying to prevent vaping at some schools in North Alabama? Have you heard about this?
No, I haven't.
Oh, here we go. Lauderdale County, Alabama is taking a unique approach to dealing with teens smoking and vaping in the boys' room. This week, they took the doors off of the bathroom stalls. They took the doors off. So you can't go hide out and vape in a stall. Administrators say students at Wilson High School are breaking the rules by sneaking vapes into school. To help stop the students from vaping, some of the doors have been removed in the boys' bathrooms. It's a trend sweeping the nation, especially America's youth. E-cigarettes, known as e-cigs, vapes, and e-hookahs, are a big problem in schools. Teachers, staff, and students at Wilson High School are seeing and smelling the problem right inside the walls. It's crazy where people think they can just go vape. You figure it's just water vapor. There's no secondhand smoke.
It's not like secondhand smoke, man.
Right.
Yeah.
So 2 weeks ago, a scary and dangerous situation happened to a student vaping in a bathroom. Principal Gary Horton says one of the students was found passed out in a stall after vaping. He says every day a student is sneaking off to the bathroom to vape. Horton says to stop students from taking smoke breaks, the best solution was to remove some of the stall doors in the boys' bathrooms. Some parents don't agree with the discipline. They say it's a little excessive. See, I don't know. They did this not because of vaping. They did this at the P&H Cafe for years. I haven't been to the P&H in a while. But down on Madison, the P&H, there were stalls but with no doors.
Yeah.
Because this might prevent vaping, but you know what? It's 100% guaranteed to discourage people taking a dump. Who wants to do that with no door on the stall?
I'm not doing that.
No, I'm not either. I'm not either. I used to have hang-ups about that too. I'm like, no, I won't do that at school or any public bathroom, especially if there's no door on there. We'll see how it works out for Wilson High School in Lauderdale County. But yeah, I mean, people, I guess they're walking around, they figure it's just vape. I can vape anywhere. I was watching that Dave Chappelle special the other night. He vapes on stage. It's this whole deal. He's got the vape pen. Wouldn't it be crazy, like, to capture on camera a vape pen exploding in somebody's face?
I've seen a video of one of the tanks like catching on fire while somebody's like.
And those are like the big tanks, like the big. It's crazy. People have these like lightsaber handles, and they're vaping. So the FDA wants to get involved now, and they probably should, because look, I want you to stop smoking, Greg. I want you to be healthy, and if you got to do that through vaping, I want you to be safe doing that. And it's, you know, kind of odd that they would just allow somebody, again, who was driving a shaved ice truck 2 weeks ago just to go sell people vapes and oils and Juul pods that could kill them because of the vitamin E. Vitamin E for emphysema, if that's how that's spelled. I don't know. Anyway. All right, G-Man, thank you for the insight on your disgusting habits. We appreciate it. And we'll talk to you later, buddy. All right, coming up, we've got a viral video of Kamala Harris, presidential candidate Kamala Harris, lying about what was said right in front of her, including a word that nobody is ever allowed to use ever again. It's one of those words you're never allowed to utter, and she totally and completely lies about having heard it and her response. That's coming up next right here in the Nation of Jake.
The Voice, KWAM, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
If you're thinking about buying or selling a home, stop. Don't do anything until you talk to my man, James Underwood. James Underwood has been helping people like you navigate the Mid-South real estate market for more than a decade. So whether you're looking to buy your first home or you want to upgrade to your forever home, James Underwood can help make it happen. No gimmicks, no guarantees, just a rock-solid guy that I've known for 25 years. So now, if you're looking to buy or sell a home, hit up James Underwood with CryLike. JamesUnderwood.CryLike.com. That's JamesUnderwood.CryLike.com.
For baby boomers, here's something to think about. Will you have enough income during your retirement? Are you absolutely sure? Do you understand the difference between growth and income? How about bonds and bond funds? Are you 100% ready for RMDs? Do you have an estate plan? If you've said no to any of these, we can help. Right now, log on to theretirementincomeDoctor.com and tune in our brand new radio show right here, Saturday mornings at 10 a.m.
If you're in need of a professional cleaning service that takes your business as seriously as you do, call Jan Pro Cleaning Systems today. They understand how important it is to establish and maintain a professional image. That's why they offer the Jan Pro Signature Clean and the Jan Pro Guarantee. From regular scheduled cleaning to the tough stuff like stripping and waxing, buffing, carpet extractions, and detail cleaning, Jan Pro does it all. Call today for a free no-obligation quote. 901-683-4900. Insured and bonded for your protection. Jan Pro Cleaning Systems. Measurable cleaning, guaranteed results.
All right, welcome back to it.
Yes, have some.
It's the Nation of Jake on The Voice, FM 107.9, AM 990, online, KWAMTheVoice.com, streaming live on the YouTube. Just go to YouTube and look for Nation of Jake. That's the channel. Subscribe to the Nation of Jake channel and tell your friends to do the same. All right, so a debate this week with your 2020 presidential candidates. You know, somebody who had big ambitions to be president, that would be Kamala Harris, senator from California. She has just shown herself to be really bad at all this campaigning. I mean, real bad at it. For the first few months, when she was confronted about issues, she would give you a non-answer and just say, we got to have a national conversation about that. And it just kept going on where she would contradict herself and she wouldn't commit. Just unprincipled. She knew one thing. She wants to be president, but that's about as far as it goes. And she came out in that first debate and she called Joe Biden a racist, and she saw her poll numbers shoot up, and then she got taken down a peg or two by Tulsi Gabbard in the second debate, and now she's a 7%er. All right, well, there was a situation at one of her rallies, I guess, on the campaign trail, where a Democrat voter started asking her about impeachment and about Donald Trump. And we'll listen to the exchange, and then we'll get into her response to what this man says.
What happened to people of color? So I don't buy that argument that impeachment does not make sense, Senate will acquit. I don't buy that argument. There needs to be accountability. I mean, what are you going to do in the next 1 year to diminish the mentally retarded action of this guy?
Well said. Well said.
All right, she says, well said twice, and laughs. Well, what that gentleman had said, he had a thick accent. So what he had said is talking about somehow a racist bigot gets in the White House and then says, if you're not my color, you need to go back to your own country. So I'm scared for this country. I'm scared for the people of color in this country. In year one, to diminish the mentally retarded action of this guy, what will you do in the year one? What will you do in the next year one? I mean, to diminish the mentally retarded action of this guy. So he calls Donald Trump a retard, essentially saying, this mentally retarded action of this guy. And to that, you hear Kamala Harris laugh and say, well said, well said.
There needs to be accountability. I mean, what are you going to do in the next 1 year to diminish the mentally retarded action of this guy?
People are laughing.
Well said.
Well said. Well said.
Well said.
And then she goes on to say whatever she's going to say. But she told the guy calling Donald Trump mentally retarded was well said. That's a word you can't use anymore. And I'm only using it for news purposes because I'm reporting this story to you. She is now apologizing amid the criticism that about her response, saying that it was well said, well said. And, not a lot of people have confronted her about this, but at least one reporter, I believe, here from CBS News did. And she gives you so much doublespeak. Here we go.
I want to ask you about something that happened yesterday. Okay. Someone at your town hall that we were at yesterday called the current president, President Trump, mentally retarded. What do you make of that? There's video on social media.
It's an incredibly offensive term. And as someone who has a long-standing relationship of advocacy for our disability community, in fact, I have a whole...
Yeah, she goes on and on to say how, she has a whole binder full of retarded people that she advocates for. And then he's...
I heard him talk about the other stuff, and then that came later, and it was not something that I really heard or processed or,
Oh, she didn't hear it. She didn't hear it or process it, yet she laughed and said, it was well said. Well said. Here's really what it comes down to. The guy's accent was pretty thick and she couldn't understand him. She reacted to the crowd who were laughing, and she laughed and said, well said, but she couldn't admit that she didn't understand the guy because that guy is Indian and he's from the same part of India that Kamala Harris's mother is from, so she can't claim she didn't understand him. So she just says, I just didn't hear it. He said it directly to you, and you laughed and said it was well said. Hang it up, Kamala.
KWAM, your news and information station, with CBS News updates every hour on the hour. KWAM Memphis.
This is CBS News on the hour. Real news, real reporting.
I'm Jim Shenevy. An elaborate rescue operation is underway at the site of a capsized cargo ship off the coast of Georgia. 4 crew members remain trapped inside the hull of the 656-foot car carrier, Golden Ray. Correspondent Mark Liverman.
The massive cargo ship carrying 4,200 vehicles overturned early Sunday in St. Simons Sound shortly after leaving port in Georgia. Rescuers managed to evacuate 20 people before a fire broke out, forcing the Coast Guard to suspend the search and rescue mission. Coast Guard video shows one person being pulled to safety in the middle of the night.
Survivor are cleared the vessel.
Officials are investigating to see if weather played a role in the mishap. Meanwhile, the port remains closed to all shipping traffic as officials figure out how to upright the ship.
Afghanistan is bracing for a new wave of violence from the Taliban. This after President Trump canceled a round of secret talks at Camp David. Correspondent Margaret Brennan.
Secretary Pompeo said the president will have to make a decision on force posture. That means, is he going to revisit his previously announced decision to take the number of U.S. troops down from 14,000 to 8,600? He said he was going to do so around the same time that the Taliban and the Afghan government received their invitations to Camp David.
The Afghan president, meantime, has added a condition for any new talks with the Taliban, saying negotiation without a ceasefire is not possible. Congress back to work after summer break, and for Democrats on the House Judiciary Committee, that means an expansion of the impeachment inquiry into President Trump. CBS's Paula Reed.
Overwhelmingly, Democratic voters support this, but generally voters do not want to see this as the focus. Now, some folks here at the White House, they're mostly just shrugging over this. They don't believe that this is actually going to give Democrats the leverage they need to get what they want.
The Washington Post is reporting that NOAA's chief scientist plans to investigate what some are calling Sharpie Gate, President Trump's insistence that Hurricane Dorian threatened Alabama for a time, and NOAA's decision to back him up on that claim despite howls of protest from the National Weather Service. The official death toll from Hurricane Dorian in the Bahamas is now up to 44. Correspondent Errol Barnett is there.
The UN estimates 70,000 people are in need of food and shelter, and we've been speaking to many of them. The government says it's evacuated roughly 3,500 people southeast to Nassau. It was largely untouched by the storm, but I can tell you that there is mass confusion as American groups come in combing through miles of debris like this to try and help account for the missing.
On Wall Street right now, the Dow is up 22 points. This is CBS News.
The CBS World News Roundup Late Edition with Jim Chenovy.
President Trump held a series of meetings today on the border wall.
Every weeknight on the CBS Radio Network.
Did you know that the IRS is getting more aggressive these days? They're using private agencies to track you down and even started taking away passports. Don't wait. If you owe more than $10,000, take advantage of the Fresh Start Initiative, a program in place that can help you now. You can save thousands and possibly have your taxes forgiven. Join the thousands of taxpayers who made the call to get protection from IRS collections. Call the experts at Oxford Tax Partners now about the Fresh Start program. If you qualify, it'll stop the IRS collection agencies from coming after you. Let the IRS negotiation experts at Oxford Tax Partners get you protected once and for all. Call the hotline now at 800-575-1919. That's 800-575-1919. There's help for those of you who owe $10,000 or more, but it's important that you take action before these programs change. Call the tax experts at Oxford Tax Partners for a free consultation now at 800-575-1919. 800-575-1919. That's 800-575-1919.
Health officials have been studying trends in suicide. Gary Nunn reports on some of the findings.
Suicide is more prevalent in places where firearms are easiest to get.
In areas that have more gun shops, the suicide rates are higher.
Lead researcher Danielle Steele-Smith says the rise in social media also is a likely factor.
That could be a place where everybody else looks like life is so much better, whereas the individual may not feel that way, or they may feel left out or just isolated from all these other people.
And reducing access to methods of suicide narrows the chances an at-risk person will die. Gary Nunn, CBS News.
Another big retailer has announced it's filing for bankruptcy. Fred's, a discount retail and pharmacy chain operating in 13 states, plans to begin liquidation sales at all of its stores. It had earlier announced plans to close more than 280 underperforming stores, but now it appears it will hit the end of the road. Jim Chenovy, CBS News.
Did you know that the IRS is getting more aggressive these days? They're using private agencies to track you down and even started taking away passports. Don't wait. If you owe more than $10,000, take advantage of the Fresh Start Initiative, a program in place that can help you now. You can save thousands and possibly have your taxes forgiven. Join the thousands of taxpayers who made the call to get protection from IRS collections. Call the experts at Oxford Tax Partners now about the Fresh Start program. If you qualify, it'll stop the IRS collection agencies from coming after you. Let Let the IRS negotiation experts at Oxford Tax Partners get you protected once and for all. Call the hotline now at 800-575-1919. That's 800-575-1919. There's help for those of you who owe $10,000 or more, but it's important that you take action before these programs change. Call the tax experts at Oxford Tax Partners for a free consultation now at 800-575-1919. 800-575-1919. That's 800-575-1919.
Jake, where'd you get those boots?
But he's got meat between his ears.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Nation of Jake on The Voice, KWAM, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
All right, welcome back.
Yes, have some.
The Nation of Jake on The Voice, FM 107.9, AM 990, online, KWAMTheVoice.com. Streaming live on YouTube, the YouTube channel, Nation of Jake. One word, Nation of Jake. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, very simple to do. It's also free, as is following me on Facebook and on the Twitter and on Instagram. Right now, on Instagram, I've got a photo of my daughter looking real sad. She's got knee pads and elbow pads and gloves on, and she's wearing a unicorn on her head. It's the saddest photo of a little girl wearing a unicorn on her head ever. I'll tell you the story behind that photo coming up in just a little bit here on hour 2 of the program. Thanks for being here. I appreciate it. Be warned, it's a code orange alert. Code orange. There is ozone in the air, and so you need to be warned. The code is orange. It's unhealthy for sensitive groups to be outside for prolonged periods of time. So if you got asthma, or if you're an energetic and active young kid or adult, get out there. It could be dangerous today. Again, going back to it, I have never, ever considered the air quality alert. I've never considered it with regards to what I do during a day. I mean, even the pollen count. I'm sensitive to pollen, but I don't stay in because the pollen count is high. Who does that? I don't know. I mean, I'm sure people who have severe asthma and things like that have to pay attention. But you just got to do what you got to do. You can't take the day off work. I'm not going to go wearing a mask, like a surgical mask, like people with SARS or something like that. I'm just going to go just deal with it. And it's a code orange. So what? Code orange. 25-cent bus fare for you if you want to ride the MATA. Because that's what they say. They're saying, hey, it's code orange. You might want to carpool or take public transit just so you don't contribute to the unhealthy air quality out there and make it worse. That said, it's like, all right, a little late. It's kind of like when they remind you it's National Hamburger Day at 7 p.m. It's like, I've already eaten for the day, and you didn't tell me it was National Hamburger Day. I would have enjoyed a tasty hamburger if I had known. It's kind of like when they declare it Jerry Lawler Day in Memphis. It's like, well, we didn't know till 4 p.m. We could have been partying all day. So, again, I don't know what the whole advantage is to a 25-cent bus fare, other than if you're a bus rider, hey, you got a discount today on account of the code orange alert out there. We got plenty coming up that's not related to the code orange. I got the news crews, all the headlines coming up, and also it's not just measles making a comeback. There's something much, much worse that people are saying could return, an antiquated infectious disease, a plague that you want no part of. It could be making a comeback. Hey, just hand it to you and yourself. Give everybody a round of applause for bringing back these antiquated diseases. I'll tell you what that is in a little bit. But let's catch up on the old Donald Trump news, because Donald Trump, he sucks up all the air in the 24-hour news cycle as we know it in year of our Lord 2019. So what do we have? Donald Trump is taking money from Pentagon projects to add to his budget for his wall. I guess his emergency declaration on the southern border. Something encouraging that I've seen is that border crossers and families with kids at the southern border, the number has fallen. It's gone way down. The Trump administration says it saw a 30% drop in the number of people apprehended at the southern border from August to July amid summer heat and aggressive crackdowns on both sides of the border to deter migrants. Both sides. Remember when he cut that deal with Mexico? I guess it's working. Mexico said that they would send a bunch of troops down to their southern border. So you've seen a drop, 30%. We have Customs and Border Protection Commissioner Mark Morgan said the percentage of border crossers who are traveling as families slid from roughly 65% to 70% of all migrants, 55%. And then you've got, he credited President Donald Trump's efforts to reduce immigration, as well as the Mexican government's clampdown on migrants traveling north. And so he's going to build like 175 miles of wall with some funds that will be diverted from different Pentagon projects, which it's so funny. Democrats especially, who will be especially critical of Trump, they'll say, oh, he's taking away money from the military to fund his wall. He really doesn't care about veterans and the military families. And it's like, well, what would you do if you were president? You'd cut the military budget by 10 times that. So don't act like it's so funny, man. Democrats only care about budgets and deficits and debts when a Republican president is in office. They only care about military spending and veterans and stuff when Republicans are diverting funds from those projects. It's disingenuous at best. So we have that. We've also got a meeting. There was a secret meeting with the Taliban. What? A secret meeting with the Taliban the week of the anniversary of September 11th? What was this meeting? It was supposed to be at Camp David, and I guess the secret got out, and everybody was like, oh, why would you do that? Why would you do that? And I asked, why would you do that? Why are you talking to the Taliban at all? I wouldn't want to talk to the Taliban. I wouldn't invite them to Camp David. I sure as hell wouldn't do it the week of September 11th, President Trump. Listen, I will be one of the few people who will criticize the president for his willingness to work with the Taliban, just like I'd criticize him for any willingness to work with those guys over in Iran, because I make no distinction between the two. They're both terrorist regimes. But there are those who will criticize the president for his willingness to work with the Taliban, but then they'll also criticize him for his unwillingness to work with Iran. Like, not honoring the Iran deal, not making a deal with Iran. I'll say, oh, you're making this country less safe when you do stuff like that. But then why would you meet with the Taliban? I see they're the same. They're the same, so I don't want a meeting with any of these people. Donald Trump also in the news for a Twitter spat that he's had with John Legend and his wife, Chrissy Teigen, the supermodel. Yeah, it just keeps coming. Seriously, I mean, you could just sit there and do an entire radio show, not that I ever would want to, but just on different headlines about Donald Trump, because there's just no shortage of stuff to get into. Apparently, Donald Trump took exception to some criticism he got from John Legend. John Legend plays piano and sings, I guess. I can't name a John Legend song. I can tell you he's married to Chrissy Teigen, and that's about it. I know he has songs. I know he's won awards. I know he's a talented guy, is John Legend, but I just don't know any of his songs. It's just not my thing. So John Legend got on Twitter criticizing Trump, and so Trump goes after John Legend and his foul-mouthed wife, Chrissy Teigen, who then proves why Donald Trump called him foul-mouthed in another tweet. And I can't repeat on the air. So he's feuding with this power couple, John Legend and Chrissy Teigen, over his criminal justice reform bill. He's saying, yeah, you guys think it's great now, but when I was passing it, you guys did nothing to help me get that done. But now you want to talk about how great it is now. So I don't know what to do with that. He just gets on the Twitter and he goes after anybody who has anything to say critical about him. He could develop a thicker skin and it wouldn't hurt my feelings. So there's people who do not like Trump all over the political spectrum. I don't love him as a president, but I'll deal with him over anybody who wants to ban everything as an answer to climate change, because I don't think that that's the answer to any. I don't think banning everything is the answer to any problem. So there are people like me, though, who are real conservative, small government people who don't like all the debts and deficits, who really, when they say small government, they mean it. Those are people like me, like true conservative type guys, more live and let live, libertarian-leaning conservatives. So you've got some challengers to Donald Trump. coming up in 2020. We've talked about at least one of them, Bill Weld, the former Libertarian vice presidential candidate with Gary Johnson, remember, in 2016. Bill Weld, former Massachusetts governor. You also have Joe Walsh, former Tea Party candidate who served a single term in Congress. He's also a conservative radio show host. Joe Walsh also has no chance of beating Donald Trump. But now we have another Republican challenger, and this is a real head-scratcher as far as, people you would want to run against Donald Trump. How about this? Former Republican Governor Mark Sanford of South Carolina announced Sunday he will enter the race for his party's presidential nomination in a long-shot challenge to President Donald Trump. Sanford, who would be the third Republican to mount a primary bid against Trump, said he had decided to run because of the astounding debt and deficits piled up during his presidency. Sanford says, "I think as a Republican Party, we have lost our way. The president has called himself the king of debt, has a familiarity and comfort level with debt that I think ultimately is leading us in the wrong direction." Sanford's decision comes amid reports that Republican officials in some states, including his home state of South Carolina, as well as Nevada and Arizona, are considering canceling their 2020 primaries. So get this. Mark Sanford, who was once the governor of South Carolina, he wants to challenge Donald Trump in a primary, and South Carolina is probably not going to have a primary. They're canceling the primaries. They're just going to give all the delegates to Donald Trump, which I don't know why you would. If you're so bullish on Donald Trump and these clowns who are challenging him have no shot, then why bother canceling the primaries? Maybe to save money. Maybe that's it. Because it shouldn't be a really contested thing. Republicans overall pretty happy with Donald Trump. Now, the other thing about this, and why this is so puzzling, is Mark Sanford. He served as South Carolina's governor from 2003 to 2011, and then 2 separate stints in the House of Representatives. That said, the only thing anybody knows about Mark Sanford is he disappeared for a week with his Argentinian mistress. And it was a scandal. Like, I get it if you did something stupid, like Donald Trump is not free from scandal. But when it's the only thing you're known for, why do you think that you've got any chance to be president, or beat a very popular Republican for the party's nomination in a primary? Seriously, what else do you know about Mark Sanford? He's telling you that he is concerned with debts and deficits, which, if we know anything about the American electorate, they don't care about debts and deficits. Seriously, people might say that. I know Republicans get really, really hot on debts and deficits when there's a Democrat president who's running them up. But when a Republican president does it, it doesn't matter. Seriously, it's just not a real sticking point for any significant group of people to get them behind you, especially if you're Mark Sanford. Because first, the question is, Mark Sanford, who? Is that the guy? Yeah, the guy who disappeared for a week in Argentina and nobody knew where he was. And it turns out he was with his mistress. His wife, denied it, but then he came out in a press conference and admitted to everybody that, yeah, he was out with his mistress for a week and he was missing. I don't even know all the details. I just know that, and that's pretty accurate. But that's all you have to know. And you have to know that if anybody's going to challenge Trump and be a serious contender, it's not going to be Mark Sanford. It's not going to be Bill Weld. And it's not going to be Joe Walsh. It could be Joe Walsh from the Eagles and the James Gang. I'd vote for that guy. I'd vote for ordinary average guy, Joe Walsh. Tequila Sunrise 2020. Life's been good. Yeah, I'd vote for that Joe Walsh, not this Joe Walsh, though, or this Mark Sanford. I'd vote for Fred Sanford before Mark Sanford. But yeah, they're going to cancel those primaries anyway in South Carolina, Nevada, and in Arizona. So it's really like, Kansas, they're also not going to hold their caucuses in 2020. They're going to save the money, save everybody's time, and they're just going to give it all to Donald Trump. They're going to save $150,000 in Nevada by canceling the caucuses. I don't like this. I don't like it. I mean, you're supposed to hold the votes. Now, whether or not any of these clowns have the chance to beat Donald Trump, you still have to hold the votes. I mean, isn't that kind of the backbone of what we do here with our representative government? We vote. You go out and you vote. I guess they're voting not to vote, but that's a very small group of people who are determining this. I don't know. Could it backfire? I doubt it. I doubt it. It's just going through the motions anyway when you have an incumbent president. We'll see. But yeah, Mark Sanford's not going to be the guy to do it, and Joe Walsh isn't. I wonder if there is somebody. I wonder if there's somebody out there. I just don't know that there is. I don't know that there's anybody in the Republican Party or on the right side of the aisle who could get enough support, take enough away from Donald Trump, and galvanize all that support. You got anti-Trumpers, you got people who just aren't into it, or just somebody who has a message, a very clear message that's not Donald Trump is bad. The orange man bad message is really the only other message that's out there. Whether you're Democrat or you're an anti-Trump Republican, nobody can formulate an inspiring message as to why to vote for, say, this Democrat or this anti-Trump Republican other than they're anti-Trump. You have to be for something. You can't just be against Donald Trump because people are against Donald Trump for a lot of different reasons. You have to have something that unites people. So it's going to be tough, man. Donald Trump's not having a great go of it right now. But all that said, it's not going that poorly for him either, given what he's up against. Coming up in a little bit, we've got the news crews, all the local headlines, local, national, whatever else is going on in the world. Coming up next, though, we talked about measles is making a comeback, but also there's something much, much worse that could be joining it. We'll talk about that next right here in the Nation of Jake.
The Voice, KWAM, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
If you're thinking about retirement, you've got to know it's all about income. Your money making money. The Retirement Income Doctor wants to teach you how it's done. Give us a call and we'll send you a free animated video kit. 848-2-INCOME. 848-2-INCOME. And tune us in, The Retirement Income Doctor, Saturday mornings at 10. Call now for your free income kit. 848-2-INCOME. 848-2-INCOME.
When's the last time you looked at the windows in your house? Not through the windows, but at the windows. Really looked at them. There's dirt, streaks, buildup, smudges, fingerprints, paw prints, spider webs, dead bugs. There's little white speckles. I have no idea what they are, and who knows what else. Now, cleaning all the windows in your house makes a big difference, but it's also a big job. That's why you need Just Windows Home Services. Just Windows has been taking the pain out of window cleaning since 1992. Just Windows cleans all types of windows, storm windows, screens, skylights, interior, exterior, upstairs and down. Now, I know I told you the company is called Just Windows Home Services, but they do a lot more. Roof and gutter cleaning, pressure washing, mirrors, blinds, ceiling fans, light fixtures, chandeliers. Look, if you've got hard to reach areas of the house, then you need Just Windows Home Services. Call for a free estimate, 751-3934. That's 751-3934, or get them online at justwindowsmemphis.com. That's justwindowsmemphis.com.
Planning for retirement can be confusing and overwhelming. Tune in to the Servant Retirement Show to hear the current news and events today's retirees need to know. Every Saturday morning at 8 on KWAM, The Voice, AM 990. If you want to talk to Dan Groban or Philip Menard today about your retirement plans, call the team at Servant Advisors Group, 855-260-1000. That's 855-260-1000. Get started on the path toward a comfortable retirement today. 855-260-1000.
This is a public service announcement test from TakeMeFishing.org to determine if you need a fishing license and boat registration before heading out on the water. Let's begin. Are you a bear? Do you have a beak? Does your name rhyme with Ald Beagle? Do you dart in front of cars? Here's a tough one. Do you have plumage? Do you rub your body against things to mark them? Do you have webbed feet? No, I mean like a... Were you hatched? Do you have fur? I'm not talking back hair. Does your boat fly south for the winter with the other boats? Regardless of how you answered, you need to be licensed and registered because it helps local conservation efforts protect the very natural resources you enjoy boating and fishing in for generations to come. Do your part at takemefishing.org.
The special event florist for the Mid-South is Lynn Doyle Flowers. They are famous for creating incredible floral arrangements and are available to fill even your last-minute needs. From the simple to the magnificent, their staff can create unique arrangements for your special occasion. Flowers always bring a smile, make someone's day, and for fast, convenient delivery, call Lynn Doyle Flowers today at 901-323-4521 or visit their beautiful new location at 6225 Old Poplar Pike.
180 over 111, and I had a stroke. I couldn't speak or walk.
150 over 90, and I had a stroke.
This is what high blood pressure sounds like. You might not feel its symptoms, but the results from a stroke are far from silent. Get back on your treatment plan or talk with your doctor to create a plan that works for you. Go to loweryourhbp.org.
Head to toe, everything's changed.
Brought to you by the American Stroke Association, American Medical Association, and the Ad Council.
All right, welcome back.
Yes, have some.
The Nation of Jake on The Voice, FM 107.9, AM 990, online, KWAMTheVoice.com. Streaming live on YouTube, the YouTube channel, Nation of Jake. You can also follow me on Facebook and on the Twitter at Nation of Jake. Instagram as well. You want to check out my photos, do it on Instagram. There's a picture of a sad little girl wearing a unicorn on her head. I didn't know it was possible. I thought if you had a unicorn on your head, you had to be happy. But this little girl is not happy. I'll tell you why she's not happy in just a little bit. If you want to go check out the photo, just go to Nation of Jake on Instagram. You know, we're lucky this day and age. We've got all kinds of technology, medical breakthroughs. Not only can they cure a lot of illnesses and ailments, they found out, what causes them. I mean, now is the best time to be alive. I mean, a long time ago, you had all kinds of disease. Then you had some diseases that are still around that were fatal then, and now they're not a death sentence. So I do believe in medicine. I don't like going to the doctor. I like drinking water and eating healthy and staying healthy. I don't like making a visit to the doctor. But look, sometimes you got to. Just the other day, on a personal note, I mean, not me personally, but people I know. My stepsister's got a 2-year-old kid, and his feet hurt. Like, he wouldn't let her touch his feet. And she was like, "What's wrong with your feet?" And he's like, "My feet hurt." He's 2, right? So he's just trying to do his best to communicate, "Ma, something's wrong." So she took him to the doctor, and they said, "Oh, wow, this boy's got a fever, and his feet hurt. We got to get him to the hospital immediately." Turned out the kid had like a blood-borne bacteria. It was in his blood, like he went septic. He had a fever of 105. You know what they did, though? They flushed him out. They got antibiotics. We thought the worst could happen. They didn't know. They do like a lumbar puncture, which I don't know exactly what that is, but it sounds awful. Puncturing your lumbar. You come up to me and say, "Hey, I want to puncture your lumbar. I'm going to fight you." But this kid, he's fine. He's been discharged. He's good to go. But man, think about 100 years ago. Your kid's feet hurt. You tell him just to sit down and don't walk. "Hey, it hurts when I walk." Then don't walk. And then 24 hours later, your kid's dead. It doesn't work that way anymore. But we are determined to screw it all up. Anti-vaxxers, they're not vaccinating their kids. And measles has made a comeback. And measles, that's something that was around. You get measles, you get a fever, you get red spots. It's pretty nasty. Well, you rest up, you take some Tylenol, eat some soup, and then hopefully you'd be okay. But we said, hey, that's not going to abide. No, we had, measles way back, and now we got an MMR, measles, mumps, and rubella vaccine. To where, listen, I never had the measles. I never had the measles either, but I never had the measles because I got that shot. I did have the chicken pox. I had the chicken pox when I was a kid. They didn't have a vaccine when I was a kid. So if there was a brother or sister had chicken pox, your mom would make you go hang out with them so you just get it and get it over with, and then you couldn't get it again. So, but now you get a chicken pox vaccine. God willing, my kids will never have chicken pox. So it's a great time to be alive. But we're bringing back these diseases. Last week we talked about, measles is very close to be reinstated as a problem. It was an eradicated disease, declared eradicated by the World Health Organization, at least eradicated in the US of A. But there are people who want to bring it back. A lot of these hippie anti-vaxxer types, who hippies, and then the fundamentalist Christian anti-vaxxer. There's all kinds of anti-vaxxers out there, and they're dead set on bringing these back. Well, now there's an even worse disease that's on its way back. Now, this is an opinion piece by Dr. Mark Siegel, who is contributing this piece to, I forget where I got it. I want to say Washington Post? The Hill. That's where it was. Here we go. Diseases are reemerging in some parts of America, including Los Angeles County, diseases that we haven't commonly seen since the Middle Ages. One of those is typhus. Yeah, typhus. You ever know anybody that had typhus? Maybe. No, I have not. It was a disease carried by fleas that feed on rats, which in turn feed on the garbage and sewage that is prominent in people-packed typhus zones. That sounds like something you would get if you lived in a structure that had a moat. Back in the day when they lived in castles in the Middle Ages, what they would do is they would have toilets, and those would all just drain into the moat. That's right. So the moat not only kept people away because it was water and horses didn't want to go across, but also because it was filled with human waste. Although typhus can be treated with antibiotics, the challenge is to identify and treat the disease in resistant, hard-to-access populations, such as the homeless or the extremely poor in developing countries. This, according to Dr. Mark Siegel. I also believe that homeless areas are at risk for the reemergence of another deadly ancient disease. Oh, which one? Which one do you think it is? Leprosy. Leprosy is the one it is, also known as Hansen's disease. I've never heard it called Hansen's disease. I've heard it called leprosy, and here's what I know about leprosy. And this might be an overstatement, an oversimplification. Your fingers fall off. Your nose might fall off. Your body rots, and your extremities fall off, and then your face peels off. And that's enough. We don't want leprosy back. Nobody wants leprosy. Leprosy involves a mycobacteria, kind of like tuberculosis, which is another mycobacteria. Leprosy is a lot more rare. They say it's very difficult to transmit, which is good, except they're talking about this in all these like homeless camps where everybody's very close together. They're huddling for warmth and all that kind of stuff. So it's easier to transmit when you are all together. But it's very easy to treat, apparently, with a cocktail of 3 antibiotics. So leprosy, hard to transmit, easy to treat. But when you got it, you're a leper. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC, there are more than 200,000 new cases of leprosy reported in the world each year, with 2/3 of them in India, which is home to 1/3 of the world's poor. The poor are disproportionately affected by the disease because of close quarters, poor sanitation, and lack of prompt diagnosis or treatment easily can convert a disease that should be rare into one that is more common. So you've got 2/3 of the leprosy cases in India. Well, what's happening out in California is that the homeless problem has gotten so bad that it's looking more like the problems they see in India. It only seems like a matter of time before leprosy could take a hold among the homeless population in an area such as Los Angeles County or up in San Francisco. Has close to 60,000 homeless people, and 75% of those lacking even temporary shelter or adequate hygiene and medical treatment. All those factors make a perfect cauldron for a contagious disease that is transmitted by nasal droplets and respiratory secretions with a close repeated contact. Dr. Mark Siegel is more concerned about the permanent disabilities that come with leprosy, given, like, say, your hands falling off or your feet falling off. Given that 2 to 3 million people are affected worldwide, than he is with an associated stigma of being a leper. Nevertheless, leprosy appearing among the homeless in LA is a sure recipe for an instant public panic. Now, he bases this just on what he's seeing, how people are forced into close quarters with little to no regular medical checkups. I don't know if there's been any case of leprosy in LA County, but given that we've got a lot of these diseases coming back, typhus, and then more mainstream stuff like the measles, it could happen. And the thought of it is pretty awful. Because look, all it takes is somebody to get leprosy, patient zero. It doesn't have to be somebody who is living among the homeless in LA or any other kind of area affected by it. Somebody maybe goes out to minister to or help those people gets the leprosy. Just like with the Ebola thing. A lot of the time it was people who were going over to Africa to help mission trips and whatnot. And you get leprosy. Oh, we're bringing back leprosy. We need to do better out there. There is a legitimate homeless crisis going on in California right now. Not only LA, as Dr. Mark Siegel points out, but also up in San Francisco, talking about all the fecal matter and stuff that needs to be cleaned up. I think if you're in San Francisco, I guess a fecal matter cleaner, a street cleaner who goes in and scoops up poop, human poop on the sidewalk, makes like $100,000. And it's still not enough to live on, and it's still scooping up poop. I mean, I'm sure there's people willing to do that job, but I don't know, man. It's not something to be on the top of my list. And then Kamala Harris, the senator out there from California who's running for president, she wants to ban plastic bags in California. She actually, I think they do that. They've banned plastic bags in San Francisco. So what are you supposed to pick up the poop with? It's just, unintended consequences of you trying to save the world. You bring back leprosy, and then you have no plastic bags with which to clean up the human poop that is all over your sidewalks. California is supposed to be beautiful. Some of those beautiful places I've been are in California. But then you talk about all the problems they have, trains that don't go anywhere, and leprosy coming back, and high taxes and blackouts. It sounds more like a hellscape. It's kind of like Snake Plissken trying to get the hell out of L.A. Escape from L.A. That's the reference. All right, coming up, we got the news cruise, all the national and local headlines. We'll do it in a leisurely fashion next here in the Nation of Jake.
The Voice, KWAM, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
CBS News Update. 2 more crew members of that cargo ship, Golden Ray, have now been rescued, leaving just 2 still trapped in the hull of the 656-foot car carrier that capsized off the coast of Georgia yesterday.
What they have to figure out now is how to get these crew members out of this vessel. It's massive. What is really important right now to keep it stable so these Coast Guard members can get into the hull to extract the crew members.
And correspondent Meg Oliver.
All 4 of them are from South Korea. Earlier today, we went over to the Seafarers Center, and we talked to a woman there who helped with the other crew members who were rescued on Sunday. She said that they were in good spirits. She said many of them were Filipino, some others were South Korean as well.
It's still unclear why the ship capsized as it left port Sunday, possibly from a shifting of its cargo of more than 4,000 vehicles. The wreck of the ship is blocking one of the busiest ports in the nation. CBS News Update. I'm Jim Chenevey.
Hey everyone, I'm your host Marie Pisano of the Finding My Yes radio show. We got a new talk show that interviews celebrities in film, music, TV, and some interesting people from Memphis to around the world. We even feature some music from emerging artists. Don't miss us Sundays at 4 p.m. right here on The Voice FM 107.9 and AM 990. Brought to you by ECT Go Heroic.
Did you know that your potential customers look at your website and determine your credibility within 8 seconds? Make sure your business reflects the quality service you provide. Contact Control-Alt Design for a free quote today. Today's marketplace is very competitive and you need a professional web presence. Control-Alt Design offers web design at a fraction of what the larger firms charge. Control-Alt Design has been helping local businesses stand out on the web for over 20 years. They also offer logo design, business card design, flyers, brochures, and more. See their work today at ControlAltDesign.com.
This is Clark Howard. Amazon did Prime Day last month and does it each year to try to attract new people to be Prime members because Amazon lives by that $119 a year that you pay to be a Prime member. But here's the thing. Is it really worth being a Prime member? Many times paying that $119 a year is money going down the drain because maybe you don't buy enough from Amazon, or maybe you're paying more for things on Amazon than you would buying other places. So I have a new checklist for you at Clark.com that you can go through the questions, and it's set up for you to come up with a score on whether or not you should dump or keep your Amazon Prime membership. I think you'd be surprised how many of us are paying for Amazon Prime that would actually benefit from saving that $119. Take the quiz.
Did you know that the IRS is getting more aggressive these days? They're using private agencies to track you down and even started taking away passports. Don't wait. If you owe more than $10,000, take advantage of the Fresh Start Initiative, a program in place that can help you now. You can save thousands and possibly have your taxes forgiven. Join the thousands of taxpayers who've made the call to get protection from IRS collections. Call the experts at Oxford Tax Partners now about the Fresh Start program. If you qualify, it'll stop the IRS collection agencies from coming after you. Let the IRS negotiation experts at Oxford Tax Partners get you protected once and for all. Call the hotline now at 800-320-9303. That's 800-320-9303. There's help for those of you who owe $10,000 or more, but it's important that you take action before these programs change. Call the tax experts at Oxford Tax Partners for a free consultation now at 800-320-9303. 800-320-9303. That's 800-320-9303.
All right, welcome back to it.
Yes, have some.
The Nation of Jake on The Voice, FM 107.9, AM 990. Online, KWAMTheVoice.com. That's KWAMTheVoice.com. Listen live, link is in the top right corner. Also on YouTube, Nation of Jake, and on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, Nation of Jake. Just find me on all the social media platforms. That way, now's the time of the show where we take a leisurely look at the headlines. We do this aboard the news cruise. The news cruise is brought to you by Just Windows Home Services. You can give them a call anytime at 751-3934.
News.
Business hours is what I'm saying.
Exciting and new.
Call anytime.
Come aboard. We're expecting you. The news cruise. Full of exciting news. The news cruise. So relax and kick off your shoes.
Welcome aboard the news cruise. Just Windows Home Services keeps the news cruise in tip-top shape, spick and span. The poop deck is always swabbed. It's actually pressure washed by the guys at Just Windows Home Services. We've got some windows there in the cabin and some mirrors down below that are always kept spotlessly clean by the guys at Just Windows Home Services. They can do the same for you. The windows in your home, your roof, your gutters, ceiling fans and chandeliers, and all the rest. If it's something that you don't feel comfortable with doing, say if it's up high, the guys at Just Windows Home Services can help you out. But they can't unless you call them. 751-3934. That's 751-3934. Their friendly and professional staff will give you a free estimate, and they'll take 20% off if you tell them you heard about Just Windows in the Nation of Jake. So again, 751-3934 for Just Windows Home Services or online at justwindowsmemphis.com. So today, the big story here in the Mid-South is a Code Orange alert. Code Orange is not a terrorism alert. It's an air quality alert. How much ozone in the air determines what color the alert is. Now, a green alert means like there's nothing to be alerted about. Yellow is moderate. Yellow's fine too. Orange is unhealthy for sensitive groups. So if you're sensitive, you might want to limit your time outside if you've got the asthma or whatnot or any other respiratory issues. It doesn't get real bad until it's like red or purple or maroon. That's when things get extremely hazardous, especially maroon. And right now, because it's a code orange, you can ride the bus for 25 cents. And that's right, the MATA bus will allow you on for 25 cents. I'm not sure how that helps you if you're a non-MATA bus rider. They want to encourage more people to take mass transit in this Code Orange alert. That said, if you didn't know it was a code orange alert until right now, I'm not sure riding a MATA bus helps you. If you're somebody who usually rides MATA, you get a discount today. Congratulations. Or if you're somebody who would otherwise be stuck outside with the terrible air quality and in the heat, you can ride the MATA bus all day long for 25 cents. And just up a couple seats. There's plenty of room on these things. Plenty of room. You're not going to be upsetting anybody. You just get a couple seats and just slump over, bring a pillow, blanket, whatever you need. It's like a mobile cooling center for you for 25 cents. I mean, that's essentially what MATA is saying today on this code orange. Over the weekend, more shenanigans at the Delta Fair. All right, the first weekend of the Delta Fair, there were shots fired, there was a stampede, and a lady was bleeding out her ears after she got trampled. She was in critical condition, and I hope she's okay now. They started wanding people. They were worried about people bringing contraband or weapons into the Delta Fair. Now, they didn't think about what people are taking out of the Delta Fair. We have here that Shelby County Sheriff's Office deputies need help locating a red-tailed boa constrictor that was stolen from the Delta Fair at the Agri Center. Someone stole Eve from her case between midnight and 5 a.m. on Saturday. Now, midnight and 5 a.m., I don't think those are fair hours. I don't think the fair was open between those hours, so this might be an inside job. Maybe one of the vendors or some sort of carny. Maybe one of the guys who hastily puts together the rides at the Delta Fair. I'm not sure. Eve is a red-tailed boa constrictor that's been a regular feature in the reptile house at the Delta Fair for years. Fairgoers pay $5 to hold the boa constrictor, and then they also pray that the boa constrictor doesn't constrict them. The 8-year-old snake is worth more than $1,000. It's an expensive snake, and it requires a heat lamp and a special diet. Eve's owner, Shelby Givens, is offering a cash reward. So I'm not sure who you're supposed to call. I guess the Shelby County Sheriff's Office, or maybe Crime Stoppers. Would you call Crime Stoppers in that? Earl, you work for the Shelby County Sheriff's Office. What do you do in this situation if you find this boa constrictor?
They would go out there, secure the area, and call a snake handler.
Yeah. I wouldn't go try to handle Eve yourself without paying the $5.
I think she's pretty, docile. But I would say that from the hours that they think it was missing, I agree with you. I think it's somebody that was on the grounds, and the people that work at the carnival. Get this, they have quarters, these like house trailers.
Sure.
That have rooms like just big enough for a cot, no showers, and they make the workers, they have to pay rent to stay in those. They have no transportation, they can't stay anywhere else.
They can take the MATA bus.
They could today.
For $0.25 today.
But where do you go? Because they charge them like $10 a day. Where do you get?
Well, yeah, you can't take your boa constrictor on the MATA bus.
No, but you can take the boa constrictor and hightail it out of there.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm sure it was somebody who had the means and the motive and the opportunity. That's how you have to treat this, just like any other crime. Somebody stole a giant snake. And that snake is quite lucrative. If you can charge everybody $5
$5, yeah,
to hold the snake, you can make at least $25.
You wouldn't get $5 out of me.
No,
I'm not holding the snake.
I don't hold a snake. You know how they catch those things, man? Anacondas and boa constrictors. They have like guys over in Africa. They wrap their legs up, like heavily bandage a leg, and they stick their legs down in these giant holes, and then the snake swallows them, and then they pull them out.
Yeah.
It's kind of like catfishing or noodling.
Noodling, yeah.
It's kind of like noodling, where you stick your arm in a catfish.
Not doing either one of those things.
Yeah, it's like a really dangerous noodling. Here we go. Out of Nashville, Tennessee, it's official. Former U.S. Ambassador to Japan, Bill Hagerty, has officially launched his campaign seat for Tennessee's open U.S. Senate seat, the one being vacated by Lamar Alexander, who is retiring after being in the Senate for 100 years. Lamar Alexander's been in the Senate forever, at least as long as I can remember. Hagerty made the announcement on Twitter early this morning. If you're looking for a conservative family man with real experience who will stand with President real Donald Trump, we're running this campaign for you. Hashtag TN Senator. That's Bill Hagerty. Look, he served as ambassador to Japan for a couple of years, and when he stepped down, you knew this was coming because this is all part of the whole RNC deal. I guess David Kustoff, Representative Kustoff, was thinking about running, but then he was told, no, stand down, sir. Haggerty's turn. He's our guy. There's still some other Republicans running for it. Manny Sethi, a doctor out of Nashville, and some other guys. But the establishment guy is going to be Bill Haggerty. Now, I want to hear Bill Haggerty speak Japanese because he's the ambassador to Japan, but I guarantee you this guy speaks no Japanese, none at all, other than what he picks up as the ambassador.
Hi.
Sweet gig, man. I want to be the ambassador to Japan. They know how to party over there.
They
yes. Do. Yeah, buddy. You've been to Japan, right?
No.
How do you know they know how to party there? Yeah, I have too.
And they
that hibachi guy with the volcano.
That's right.
Hell yeah. Oh, here we go. We got the total of funds raised through the Beale Street admission fee, $570,000.
Wow.
Yeah, they should keep that around forever. People complaining about it going, all Beale Street is like a mini Bourbon Street, and I can go down to Bourbon Street for free and get on the street. And it's like, yeah, okay, but you're here. So pay the $5, and you'll be a little bit safer than you were if you didn't, because there'll be fewer people and fewer shenanigans, less trampling and whatnot. And I'm telling you, man, if the city can make that much money off of charging admission to Beale Street, and it be safer, and it can fund other features to make it remain safer, they're going to keep it around. Those fees and taxes do not go away.
You know, I say they put a toll bridge on both the bridges of people coming across into Tennessee. I mean, we could solve a lot of problems with that.
Yeah.
They got toll roads all over Texas, man.
Oh, toll roads, Texas, Florida, everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
So
pay the toll.
You drive on our highways, you wreck them, drive those big trucks, you got to start paying.
Yep. You got to pay the toll. Pay the man. And finally, this is a big national news here. Memphis-based Fred's filed for bankruptcy and will shut down. They will liquidate all of their stores, all of its locations. They're looking for a buyer on the pharmacy side. I guess it just goes to show, Fred, you can't keep giving away the store, man. That old lady on the porch told you all those years on those commercials, Fred. Can't give away the store and expect to stay in business. It took a long time, Fred, but that old lady was right. Can't keep giving away the store. Now you have to give it away. All right, coming up, I want to tell you about the picture of the sad little girl with the unicorn on her head. Why you so sad, little girl? You got a unicorn on your head. That's coming up next right here in the Nation of Jake.
The Voice, KWAM, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
If you're thinking about buying or selling a home, stop. Don't do anything until you talk to my man, James Underwood. James Underwood has been helping people like you navigate the Mid-South real estate market for more than a decade. So whether you're looking to buy your first home or you want to upgrade to your forever home, James Underwood can help make it happen. No gimmicks, no guarantees, just a rock-solid guy that I've known for 25 years. So now, if you're looking to buy or sell a home, hit up James Underwood with CryLike. JamesUnderwood.CryLike.com. That's JamesUnderwood.CryLike.com.
Looking for a cool way to get a new home comfort system without breaking the bank? The Advantage program from Service Experts Heating and Air Conditioning gets you a high-quality home comfort system for one low monthly rate. There's no money down, never a charge for repairs, and seasonal tune-ups are free. Right now, get a new home comfort system as low as $99 a month and no additional charges ever. Call Service Experts Heating and Air Conditioning today at 866-EXPERTS or visit ServiceExpertsMemphis.com.
For expert service guaranteed, call 866-EXPERTS.
See website for license details.
You and your friends and associates are invited to attend the Mississippi Senior Expo and Health Fair, Thursday, September 19th from 9 a.m. until 2 p.m. at the Brown Missionary Baptist Church, located at 7200 Swinier Road in South Haven, Mississippi. There will be health exams, flu shots, entertainment, and this year, there'll be food trucks on site to allow you to enjoy lunch while you're there, and a demonstration on healthy living by the Silver Sneakers. The Mississippi Senior Expo and Health Fair is promoted by the DeSoto Times and the Best Times. Mark your calendar for September 19th. You'll be glad you did.
Chuck Woolery here for Blue Emu. How many pain relief ads do you hear daily? 5, 10, 15? And of course, all of them claim their new ingredient or their new formula will help. Blue Emu has maintained the same quality year after year and continues to be the #1 branded emu oil product. So don't trust hype. Trust Blue Emu to support healthy muscles and joints. Choose Blue Emu pain relief products. They work fast and you won't stink.
Available at retailers nationwide.
Have you heard about Newsmax TV? It's America's fastest growing cable news channel in 70 million homes. Every minute, every day. Watch Newsmax for breaking news on President Trump. Plus, get insights from Bill O'Reilly, Alan Dershowitz, Pat Buchanan, Mike Reagan, and more. You can find Newsmax TV on DirecTV, Xfinity, Dish, Optimum, Spectrum, Fios, Uverse, Suddenlink, WOW, and dozens of cable systems. So check your guide now and watch Newsmax TV. Real news for real people.
Carrie's Body Shop says, stand up and salute our local first responders, from EMTs and fire and police departments that serve and protect our communities, to those serving in our military. Let's remember those lives lost and show our appreciation for their dedication. That's from Carrie's Body Shop in Millington, where they're always working to make our area a safer place to live, work, and raise a family. That's Carrie's Body Shop at 901-872-4002. On air for the patriots who serve and protect only because they care.
All right, welcome back to it.
Yes, have some.
The Nation of Jake on The Voice, FM 107.9, AM 990, online, KWAMTheVoice.com. You're about 10 minutes away from the Earl Farrell for Memphis show. Earl's in studio here. He's coming along in less than 10 minutes now, right after the CBS Top of the Hour news. You can go follow Nation of Jake in the meantime, since we've got these few minutes, on Instagram. I don't pump up the Instagram a whole lot. You know, it's more so for me and my friends. Hey, you're my friend, though, and you can follow me on Instagram. Yesterday, I captured a moment on my Instagram, and it's a familiar moment. It's when your kid has had it with the bike riding lessons. All right, my daughter is 5.5, so it's a little young. My 7-year-old, she learned, she had just turned 7, and I think it was like Christmas or the day after when Eva learned how to ride a bike, and she took to it real fast. I mean, I just had to hold the seat for like a few seconds. She was off riding. Olivia's a different story. Olivia didn't want to take the training wheels off. She, in her head, thinks, I'm only 5.5, and Eva was 7 when she learned, so I still got a 1.5 years before I have to learn this. She just doesn't want to do it. But her training wheels, they were kind of falling off anyway. I said, no, it's time for you to ride. All the kids in the neighborhood can ride. You should try it. And so I've never seen it before, and it was because I'm still kind of a new dad. She's on the bike, and I'm holding the seat and running beside her, which isn't easy in 100-degree heat. And she's just bawling, just crying. She wants no part of this 2-wheel bike.
You've ruined my bike, Daddy.
So we took a break, and I'm sitting there, and she's got pads from head to toe, and then she's got her helmet on, and her helmet is one of those little Rascals helmets. And it's like a pink and orange color, and it's got a unicorn face and a horn and ears on it. And so she's sitting there just looking pitiful in her unicorn helmet. And then I posted on Instagram, and people are giving me heat for posting that picture of my kid. I'm like, are you kidding me? And when she is 17 years old, she's going to love this. She's going to look back and laugh at how she just didn't want to ride her bike. And my mom chimes in. She takes a dig at me because she said, look, Livy's only 5. You were a lot older than that when you learned to ride a bike. And I was like, well, yeah, Ma, I was 14, and you guys didn't buy me a bike. I had to go fend for myself, and I happen to love my daughter, and I don't want her to be a social outcast. Thanks for that. Appreciate it. So, yeah, I don't know. And now I've got a buddy of mine who's he's a comedy promoter in Atlanta. He runs a famous comedy club called The Punchline. The Punchline in Atlanta is one of the biggest ones. He texted me earlier. He's like, hey, man, That's such a great picture. I want to use it for a comedy show promo that I'm doing. And I was like, all right, just let me see it before you send it out. But I don't. It's already out there on the interweb. So go to the old Instagram. And these are the days, though, and I've been told more than one time, these are the days that you have to capture and you have to remember, because before I know it, that kid's gonna be 17 or 18. She's not gonna be worried about riding a 2-wheel bike around. She'll grow out of that real fast. She's going to want the car keys. And she's going to say, see you later. Can I have them, please? And so I got a whole cats in the cradle situation coming up, and I don't want to break down on the air. So, all right, Earl's up next. I'll be back tomorrow at 1. So long, and thanks for all the fish.